Greetings, folks. Tom Jane here. I'm feeling ornery tonight. Feeling real ornery tonight. I'm going to be reading this essay editorial by Andrea about her upcoming fake vagina and the community backlash to the article a little bit. And I'm going to read my Twitter rant. And in the course of this weird day, I discovered that there's actually people who embrace the diagnosis of autogynephilia for themselves. For those of you AGP, which is like it's on the forbidden list of things to talk about in the WPATH International Trans Health Group. It's that volatile, but apparently it fits people with the transvestite fetish, and there's this whole circle of friends that were into it, and that I met today, and really it goes into the lateral hostility and relational bullying within the LGBT community that is really more harmful to it than any of the external threats. So anyway, that's where we're at. We already have 2 people here. Thanks for joining me. Let's get going with the reading here. This is from the American Conservative, which is it's a non-for-profit that claims to be nonpartisan. It's totally repugnant. And here's by a Rod Dreher, Andrea Longchu's fake vagina, which apparently she had written for the New York Times, which is why I haven't read it yet, because all the trans people that have been sharing it, it's behind a paywall, and I didn't feel like fooling around defeating the paywall. Sit down and read this essay in the New York Times by Andrea Longchu. It is inadvertently an icon of our radically disordered culture. Here's how it starts. Next Thursday, I will get a vagina. The procedure will last around 6 hours, and I'll be in recovery for at least 3 months. Until the day I die, my body will regard the vagina as a wound. As a result, it will require regular, painful attention to maintain. This is what I want, but there is no guarantee it will make me happier. In fact, I don't expect it to. That shouldn't disqualify me from getting it. Could there possibly be a more succinct statement of our very particular cultural madness? What I want is against nature, and I believe it will make me miserable, but I want it, and you had all better give it to me. 2 goes on to say that being on estrogen has made him even unhappier than he was to begin with. Like many of my trans friends, I've watched my dysphoria balloon since I began transition. I now feel very strongly about the length of my index fingers, enough that I will sometimes shyly unthread my hand from my girlfriends as we walk down the street. When she tells me I'm beautiful, I resent it. I've been outside. I know what beautiful looks like. Don't patronize me. I was not suicidal before hormones. Now I often am. I can hardly wait to see the edit of that one that the boys go and try and pull on me. I won't go through it with it properly. Killing is icky. I tell you this not because I'm cruising for sympathy, but to prepare you for what I'm telling you now. I still want this, all of it. I want the tears. I want the pain. Transition doesn't have to make me happy for me to want it. Left to their own devices, people will rarely pursue what makes them feel good in the long term. Desire and happiness are independent agents. There's more. But I also believe that surgery's only prerequisite should be a simple demonstration of want. Beyond this, no amount of pain, anticipated or continuing, justifies its withholding. Nothing, not even surgery, will grant me the mute simplicity of having always been a woman. I will live with this or I won't. That's fine. The negative passions, grief, self-loathing, shame, regret are as much a human right as universal health care or food. There are no good outcomes in transition. There are only people begging to be taken seriously. And the author is just read the whole thing. But if I go to try to read the whole thing, it's going to be behind a paywall, and I don't want to fuck around with that. Yep. I don't want to fuck around with your paywall, guys. I have to open a incognito browser. I'll go read it eventually, maybe. But this is probably much more significant than anything she's written more on it. But do you see what's happening here? Chu says that the treatments doctors have given him are making him sicker, even making him desire suicide. But if he wants to suffer and die, then he should have that right. Satisfying desire is the only thing that matters. This poor man with asparagus-colored hair is going to submit to mutilation next week, and will have to spend the rest of his life inserting an object into the wound surgeons will have made in his pubic area to prevent his body from healing itself. This man, like many of my trans friends, expects this medical procedure to make him no happier, and in fact might make him feel more miserable, even suicidal. I want to stop right here and insert the facts that this kind of attitude is the exception rather than the rule. The satisfaction rate on bottom surgery is well over 95%, and the satisfaction rate on HRT is near 100. So, you know, yeah, some people it's not right for them. You know, so what? It's like with anything else. People change their minds, but there are many of us out here who are physically and emotionally better suited for the transgender role, and there should be no kind of stigma on us and no blocks to our obtaining what gender affirmation procedures we need to be able to live comfortably in our own skin. But to continue, because it's like happily, you know, I mean, I've watched this for almost 50 years. I've watched literature, and there's a whole lot less, a whole lot smaller percentage of transgender people who are like this Andrea long to, and many more who are just like, oops, we're cross-wired. I'm a woman. Sorry about the penis. I'm trying to convince a man with a vagina that he wants to be my partner. What's the big deal? Who are we hurting? We're not hurting ourselves. I'm not mutilating anything. The hormones have like made my life better than it's ever been. My mental state and the way people react to me, you know, the way I behave, you know, I can be myself and not be like worrying about being too femmy in the way I pose or touch myself, or you know, fuck this shit. You know, the desistance myth is what these guys are trying to push on. Freeing the autonomous will from sex and gender norms is the summum bonum of contemporary American progressivism. The insatiably miserable Andrea Longchu is its incarnation. No, Andrea is the exception. That people who are defying the stereotypical expectations of dress and behavior that goes with their genitals are succeeding. They're doing much better with, most of us are doing much better living authentically than trying to live a lie. And they're just that this is even a debate is so wrong. I mean, yeah, there's going to be aberrations like this young person. But most of us are we're just cross-wired. And nobody could give me any good reason why effeminate man and masculine women should be stigmatized in the first place. I mean, what is harming other people if someone decides that they need to behave in a manner that in a transgender role? What is hurting anybody? Why is it a debate at all? And here's why. And this is from the Benedict option, which I don't know what it is. I think it's Benedictine Catholicism. Yeah, strategy for Christians in a post-Christian nation. The significance of sexual difference has never before been contingent upon a creature's preferences or upon whether or not God gave it episodically to a particular creature to have preferences, writes Catholic theologian Christopher Roberts. It goes on to say that for Christians, the meaning of sexuality is always dependent on its relationship to the created order and to eschatology, the ultimate end of man. As was particularly clear, perhaps for the first time in Luther, the fact of a sexually differentiated creation is reckoned to human beings as a piece of information from God about who and what it meant to be human. Contrary to modern gender theory, the question is not are we men or women, but how are we to be male and female together? The legitimacy of our sexual desire is limited by the givenness of nature. The facts of our biology are not incidental to our personhood. Marriage has to be sexually complementary because only the male-female pair mirrors the generativity of the divine order. Male and female he made them, says Genesis, revealing what complementary is written into complementarity is written into the nature of reality. Easy divorce stretches the sacred bond of matrimony to the breaking point, but it does not deny complementarity. Gay marriage does. Similarly, transgenderism doesn't merely bend, but breaks the biological and metaphysical reality of male and female. Everything in this debate, and many others, between traditional Christianity and modernity, turns on how we answer the question, is the natural world and its limits a given, or are we free to do with whatever we desire? Well, the ancient world recognized gender nonconformity. There were 6 genders described in Mishnah, thousands of references to them. Most indigenous, this is the sex gender binary is like the result of imperialism and the exploitation and misinterpretation and distortion of ancient scripture. That's all it is. It's unnatural. There's over 1,500 species that they found form gay pair, do engage in gay sex. Some of them for fun. Some of them do it form permanent pair bonds. It's not unusual to see a couple of male lions or a couple of female lions in a permanent pair. Andrea Long choose sexualized wound that will never heal is progressivism's answer. more from the Benedict option. Future historians will wonder how the sexual desires of only 3 to 4% of the population became the fulcrum on which the entire worldview was dislodged and overturned. A partial answer is that the media are to blame. Back in 1993, a cover story in The Nation identified the gay rights cause as the summit and keystone in the culture war. And some are saying that the struggle for transgender equality is the last civil rights battle we'll ever have to fight. All the cross currents of present-day liberation struggles are subsumed in the gay struggle. The gay movement is in some ways similar to the moment, or the gay moment is in some ways similar to the moment that other communities experienced in nation's past. But it's also something more because sexual identity is in crisis throughout the population. And gay people, at once the most conspicuous subjects and objects of the crisis, have been forced to invent a complete cosmology to grasp it. No one says the changes will come easily, but it's just possible that a small and despised sexual minority will change America forever. We have gone beyond gay people to allow transgender people. Fewer than 1% of the population change America forever. Progressives. Actually, what you'd be doing is allowing this 1% to really affirm what America is supposed to be about. And that's freedom from being told what to do by somebody that you don't consent having them tell you what to do. Progressives, they make a desert. They make a desert and call it peace. They carve a gash and call it a vagina. They make us all insane and call the sane crazy. They don't carve a gash. They invert the penis. They save as much of it as they can. They turn the glands into a clitoris, and somehow they made it so they're self-lubricating now too. And you know, dilating is girls I know that are doing it. Never mind. They don't mind. they don't mind having to do that. If you want to save yourself and your children from this doom, turn your back on it now. Let the dead bury their dead. Let our finest surgeons gouge holes into our mentally ill young people and call them heroes. What about the Hippocratic Oath? Well, that's why they do it. That's why you're seeing the transgender kids in the grade schools now. It's because the doctors put their foot down on conversion therapy. What about the Hippocratic Oath? Here you have someone declaring on the pages of the New York Times that surgery is about to have will not make him happier, and in fact may drive him to suicide, but he doesn't care. He wants what he wants. Is it in a just order? Those surgeons would be charged with a crime if they go through with this. Desire is the only criterion of health. Is that where we are now? What if someone desires to have their legs amputated or commit suicide? What are the limits? Nihilists. We're nothing but nihilists. We're wicked and deserve to be judged. And here we have an update from Andrea Longchu's GoFundMe appeal for surgery. Transition is expensive. I'm lucky enough to have insurance that covers hormones and most of vaginoplasty, which I'm getting in November. Everything else, including facial feminization surgery, hip augmentation surgery, vocal surgery, is considered cosmetic and therefore insurance won't cover it. That makes paying out of pocket the only option. I live on a stipend from NYU where I'm a doctoral student, plus money I make writing freelance. I'm hoping to sell a trade book in the next year, but that remains to be seen. Even if it's a good deal, it may not free up the funds necessary for my surgeries. Dysphoria can be hard to describe. I've said elsewhere it feels like heartbreak. I like to talk a big talk about how all transition-related surgeries are cosmetic, and they are, and no one wants to transition into an ugly person. But it's also true that without any of these surgeries, my suicide risk is much, much higher. Give me money for surgery or I might kill myself. Or according to me in the New York Times, give me money for my surgery, I might kill myself. Anyway, it's my right. Update number 2. Transgender columnist at the NYT miffed that Chu is off narrative, and this is the one that tripped my trigger. Jennifer Fitty Boylan. And she's a sweetheart and she's an excellent writer, but this is where it was like What about us non-ops, hon? What about us women who are living with our penises? They're getting them converted. And Jenny says, it is always good to have diverse trans voices on the page. I love that, but calling the business a wound instead of the gushy miracle it is, emphasizing misery and suffering and self-loathing, is that what is needed to be shouted into the megaphone at this perilous hour? Having a dust problem today. Hard boogers and all. No black hard boogers, just hard boogers and bad post-nasal drip. On Tu's website, here's another update. Holy shit, this guy's I didn't read the whole thing before. I was like, I got to about Jenny's spot and went, oh man. And I went off on a rant. I posted my first rant to Twitter tonight. Okay, update number 3 on Tu's website. He posted a PDF link to a paper he delivered earlier this year at a Columbia Student University Conference. This is the kind of thing they're talking about at one of America's great universities. The paper is titled, Did Sissy Porn Make Me Trans? There are no images, but don't click through it and start reading unless you're prepared to go to an extremely dark place. Almost didn't post this here, but after thinking about it, I concluded that it's actually vitally important to know. I'm going to summarize the paper for those of you who don't want to read it. Again, I cannot caution you strongly enough about its content, and the pornographic images Chu describes in detail in the paper. The paper's title comes from a comment Chu saw in an online forum. Sissy porn, we learn from the paper, is a genre in which submissive men are forced to have sex with other men in such a way that their masculinity is forcibly taken from them. Chu says this genre is also called forced feminization porn. Chu says that sissy porn explicitly intends to turn male viewers into transsexuals, in part by instructing them to understand their addiction to the genre as constitutive of their own feminization. The Chu writes, now John would hardly be the first closeted trans woman whose gender dysphoria felt like porn addiction. Indeed, the internet is full of women like this if you know where to look. The phenomenon is common enough, in fact, to have given rise to an entire subgenre of anxiety fielding on the popular discussion website Reddit. In typical posts from 2014, did sissy porn make me trans or was I trans all along? One user writes. About 3 years ago, I discovered sissy hypno videos, that's hypno, short for hypnotism, which in a nutshell are flashing subjective images telling you to wear panties, be girly, and even take hormones. I became completely obsessed with these videos. This person is now 95% sure she is trans. Boy, I've never been anything but 100% sure that I was trans. From the time I was a little kid. There was never any doubt in my mind what was going on. I mean, my brain literally cannot see a penis there. No matter how hard I try, I cannot see a penis down there with my eyes closed. Now imagine a confused 12-year-old boy, perhaps one experiencing same-sex desires, finding sissy porn on his smartphone. What are you trying to tell me, phone? Nothing. Oh, that's what it's trying to tell me. It's 100% battery. And giving himself over to it. It's only a few clicks away. Chu goes on to talk about the dynamics of sissy porn. Here is a key portion, one I can quote here. Sissyhood is not the obliteration of subjectivity, but it's a diminishment. Sissies have selves, in other words, but these selves are simplified, empty, dumb. The technical term for this is bimboification. Numerous captions instruct spectators to submit themselves to hypnosis, brainwashing, brain melting, and other techniques for scooping out intelligence. Chu describes unprintably that the porn's video explicit instructions order the viewer to surrender his entire to the sexually dominant male's desires. The act of sexual submission is not only castration, the will destruction of the submissive male's masculinity. This is crucial. Also, the will destruction of personhood. Well, I'm fine as long as I don't talk and inhale dust. As soon as I get going and talking, it's dust. Okay, read this comment. It's up to number 4. Oh, what 2 describes here is a process of demonic possession. If that is what is in Andrea Longtooth's head, no wonder he's depressed and suicidal. This is profoundly evil stuff. I'm not going to stand in judgment this guy or Andrea. But what people do is strictly between themselves and the maker. Update number 4, read this comment. Do you let your kid have a smartphone and or unsupervised internet access? You might want to rethink that. The third update really struck a chord with me. I am familiar with sissy porn, having discovered it in high school, and it's much broader than what 2 is referring to. Some background on me. I'm a millennial. I was raised Catholic, and I first discovered internet porn at a friend's house when I was 12 years old. When I was in high school and we first got internet access at home, I used it to look for porn when nobody was around. In the first few years, I had pretty typical straight teenage boy's interest when it came to porn. Having been poorly formed in male-to-female dynamics, however, I was very interested in having power over women. This led me to search for hypnosis. Since this was a very small niche back then, I imagine there's a large catalog for every fetish out there now. I absorbed whatever material I could find, and within a few months, this led me to the sight of a woman who specialized in hypnotizing men, making them think they were women. Although the latter parts just seemed gross, I had no interest in being a woman. Something about the power exchange appealed to me, even though I never did before. I have a theory that this is a pattern for frequent porn users. They may initially look for other things, but with enough exposure, they desire to be a passive sexual participant since it involves less effort on their part. Despite the feminization aspect, I kept going down this rabbit hole as the thought of being the submissive one was appealing. So I did my best to avoid the sissy stuff at first, reading story, downloading audios, and later watching videos where women claim to hypnotize men. There's a whole cottage industry of female hypnotists who record audios and videos for this purpose, which I would not encourage you or your readers to investigate. As much as I tried to avoid it, though, the sissy audios and videos were hard to miss. There was clearly a market for it since so much was being produced, and I would occasionally partake when it was what I could find for free. Eventually, I didn't care what they asked me to do in these recordings. Being under the power of a woman was appealing. By the time I reached my 20s, I was in deep. Later in my 20s, I also discovered the free streaming porn sites. And I was eager to see what content I could find on them. I just throw in a few key hypnosis keywords in my search, and the sissy hypno videos that you wrote about started popping up. In fact, they seem to be the bulk of hypnosis themed content. I clicked a few of them since I couldn't find much else. They usually feature transsexual images or video clips with words popping up, suggesting that the viewer engaged in female grooming or sexual behavior. The audio for these was either airy pop songs the female hypnotists I'd discovered before, moaning noises, or some combination of the above. The discovery of these videos led me to reflect on how big my problem had become. From high school through my 20s, is this the author doing this? Oh yeah, it is. Oh boy. So this is two queers. This is a queer writing about a queer, but it's a conservative queer writing about a progressive queer. Yeehaw. Discovery of these videos led me to reflect on how big my problem had become. From high school through my 20s, I'd gone from looking at pictures of naked women to watching videos of women hypnotizing men or abusing them. And you better believe there was some transsexual porn in there too. I doubt many who look at what I looked at don't eventually come around to seeking transsexual porn as well. On the non-porn side of life, I had no ability to attract women or get a girlfriend, probably because porn had convinced me to be passive and wait for them to come to me. With no success with women as a man, transitioning seemed like it might give me a shot at happiness and sexual prospects. I began browsing transgender forums and reading their literature and webcomics. I looked into what it would take for me to start hormone replacement therapy. If it weren't for my Catholic upbringing and the crazy advice they gave me on these forums, lie to therapists, separate yourself from family and friends who don't respect your decision, etc., I might have made an irreversible mistake. Although many transgender forums deny that sissy porn has any impact on their decision to transition, there are places where they are a little more forthcoming, 4chan and similar anonymous style message boards. While it's hard to tell who's telling the truth and who isn't on these boards, an awful lot of them feature transsexual sissy porn and are frequented by posters who claim to be transsexual themselves. There's one in particular designed for lonely, underemployed young men where threads regularly appear suggesting that they look for transgender girlfriends or transsexual girlfriends or become transsexual themselves, offering advice on how to get started. I don't know who's making all this stuff, but with all the videos and message board posts, there is an awful lot of content being produced that seems to be designed to reach the lonely young men and recruit them into the ranks of the transsexual community. Content doesn't make itself. Someone is putting a lot of effort into this. There are so many of these sissy hypnosis videos, and those take time to edit. And on 4chan and similar forums, posts disappear quickly. To keep appearing near the top, people have to start new threads, which we're not dealing with a few actors who made some videos and retired. Some people are still at work trying to recruit young men who are addicted to porn and feel like they have nothing going for them. Who these actors are and what they want, I cannot say. I am fortunate that I rediscovered my faith in adulthood and got my act together. I've since married and am raising children with my wife. However, it still haunts me to think how differently things may have gone for me, and I pray regularly for boys and young men who took the other path or faced a temptation to that path. I did not feel any predisposition to homosexuality or gender confusion, and yet it almost ensnared me. So I always, like I said, there's never any doubt in my mind. I knew I had a problem by the time I was 4, and by the time I was 8 or 10, I knew what it was. And I have listened to the spirits of my ancestors or whatever it is that guides me, and have just learned to live with it. I don't know what else to say to people like that. Well, either one of them, the author or Andrea Long too. I know what to say to the people that want to vilify them, and it's like none of your fucking business. It's between them and the maker. So let me get to my my rant and read that for you, and then I'll check and see who's here, see who has to be blocked, and who's worthy of an answer if there's been any questions. My rant tweets. Where's my tweets? Yeah, in the news, you might have noticed that the Russians intercepted some ships. Allegedly, there was a special atomic demolitions munitions on board that they were planning on blowing up this bridge with. Where they got it from, who knows? But it belonged to NATO. So anyway, when I shared that article, I shared it with the comment. Boy, it's gotten some business too. Meanwhile, it's three retweets, 3 likes, and 14 comments, and not all of those are mine. Meanwhile, non-operative transgender, well, this is what bothered me about the whole thing, was non-operative transgender people, women, were completely erased by both sides of this argument. Thanks, post-op. Some women have penises, you know. That's Andrea Longtooth's fake vagina. So let's read the... Rant warning. I'm in the mood to unload on the T3 thought police and sexually repressed right-wingers at the same time. T3 thought police equals trannier than bound narcissistic twats, usually with passing privilege, in various stages of medical transition, and their bowlings of simpering psychopathic sissies with serious psychoneuroses, along with the GD, dictating rules of how to be trans to everybody. Passing privilege is the advantage that a trans person who is seen easily as their true gender has over the trans person who is easily clocked for their biological sex. So here I am, somebody whose junk was fiddled with before I could have a say in it, leaving me with a penis that worked too well, connected to a brain that was looking for a vagina down there, and told that girls don't have penises and boys only cry when they're bleeding. Not wanting to get beat any more than I already was, I shut up about being a girl and did the best I could to pretend to be a boy. I was never very good at it, though I did have a wicked left and I was hard to tackle. So I didn't get bullied very badly until I got to high school, and even then it wasn't that bad. I lived with raging GD in silence most of my life, making several aborted attempts to transition starting in 1986 and finally doing it on April Fool's Day 2014 and on to HRT since May Day 2015. I never could relate to the pride crowd for a number of reasons and hid with hippies. Since coming out about being trans in public in 2010 and participating in the Facebook groups, I'm regularly appalled by the levels of lateral hostility across the LGBTQ spectrum and relational bullying under the transgender umbrella. Being non-operative and intersex, I'm often in a crossfire, especially when the transsexuals and genderqueer start unloading on each other or drag queens and fetishes. What happens is if you don't do queer the same way, you get dumped on as an ego booster for your hater. The mantra that was passed to me was to celebrate the diversity in our community, recognizing and revering that we're all uniquely crafted and we all make our own decision on how we present ourselves to the world. Nobody's transition or lack of one invalidates anybody else's transgender journey. Hashtag fuck passing. I could pass if I wanted to work at it, but I'm a hippie and hippies don't wear a lot of gook on their faces or spiked heels. It's safe to be openly trans in Tucson, so I don't care if I get clocked. More people read me as trans and female up front, but all I have to do is, with most, is say that I'm not a guy, and that's enough because the girl in my face is easy to see, even if my general shape is screaming male. My behavior is credible as a female, so most people get right in step or at least start self-correcting immediately. I guess this is about enough ranting. I'm not happy about the erasure of non-ops in this argument. I know many of the older transsexuals have been adapting to the reality that the majority of us will never have surgery, and a substantial portion don't want it at all. There are no rules for being trans. Gender expresses on a spectrum. And if we ever want to gain true equality, there must be solidarity between all the gender variants in the spectrum, or we won't generate the clout we need to defeat hate bills and get protective legislation enacted. Oh, this is why there's more. I had a question from one of my friends, a Spanish woman living in Canada, that I met in the anti-Zyro thread. Why is this the government's business? Like abortion is between the doctor and his or her patient. And my reply is that most trans people don't even need any sort of medical intervention. What I would like to know is why, especially if a person is obviously physically and emotionally better suited for the transgender role. Is it anybody's business at all? And I really want to cut this short. Yeah, we got the idiots. Do I have, okay, trans girl power. Oh yeah. Tech Whip, yes. The look in the at Facebook, the group uh, the group that the transgender international transgender health. You can find it, or transgender science. Um, there's been postings about that in both groups. Um, the guy hit on me. um, and he's a nice guy. We have a lot in common. He just wasn't quite ready. He's got some health issues. I don't know. He might already be in love with me. I don't know. I mean, I thought. I mean, I don't want to go into it. There's too many idiots here. Um, hello, Tiffany. COPD, it's not. Okay, cut it off as blocked and reported. Let's do this right. Um, how do we go to his channel? I'll figure it out later. Yeah, cut it off as an idiot. What in the fuck is cryptorchidism? Well, thank you, Trans Girl Power and Tiffany, for dealing with the Kiwi farmer. They're idiots. They're not even worth the time of day. So where were we? Oh, this was interesting. Let's get back to this. Let's see if we can find the first. Okay, this was a thread by someone named Katie Montgomery, who's apparently a male and female trans woman in Britain. And it starts something about anti-trans crew claiming that they're being silenced as a top-tier DARVO, whatever the hell that is, in solidarity with Sally Hines on the BBC Women's Hour. This is why the debate is toxic. This is toxicity in action. I will not be professionally threatened or publicly shamed for daring to disagree with another feminist professor. I will not be silenced by spurious legal threats or complaints to institutions. And there was a fellow in there calling himself Michael B. At one point, he said on his yeah, see here's on his profile, it says, I have ATP. I don't let it define me. I'm a man. I always have been and always will be. So like here's this clash between him and Katie. And I come in and ask, is this ATP you say you have autogynephilia, or somehow you had an advanced graphic port installed in your head? And Katie says she's going to mute this so that she's not tempted to chime in, because apparently there's a whole lot of bullshit goes on. And that's a good idea, but it's not likely to last long. I just wanted to confirm whether this person was claiming to have autogynephilia, which would be a first for me to meet. I'd love to know more about somebody who's actually received such a diagnosis. And he comes, oh, there's loads of us. We're boring, though. I said, I won't be bored. I've never heard anybody accept that diagnosis as valid on themselves before. I'm an intersex survivor of IgM and was lived with raging GD all my life. I have a female psyche and male junk and have been in prayer for healing all my life. AGP is not me. I hid most of my life and been living authentically for 5 years, starting in April of 2014. Oh, I'll be living for 5 years in April. I'm very active in the Facebook groups, and AGP is solidly denounced as a valid diagnosis by the WPATH and APA. Is this a self-diagnosis, or are you in therapy with someone? It's okay if AGP isn't you, but it is me. AGP is recognized in the DSM. And I'm going to read that for you guys, too. I really need to shut up, because the more I have my mouth open, the more I'm breathing in whatever's in the air that's getting me congested. And learn the difference between coughs. There's nothing reflect, that's a managed cough, a productive cough. It's okay if AGP isn't you, but it's me. AGP is recognized in the DSM, and I fit a couple of the specific flavors. There's a small group of us on Twitter. I said it is. Have you got a link to that? AGP is seriously hot button stuff. Are there any healthcare professionals you folks are consulting, or is this all self-diagnosis? And then he says, here it is under transvestic fetishism. I can't speak for the others. I went to a gender therapist who didn't even know what it was because of how much has been vilified by TRAs, trans rights activists. But luckily, I found out about it on my own. Thank you. Now I can see why the trans women freak out over it. It's not at all like gender dysphoria. What's a TRA? Trans rights activists. They don't believe AGP exists and insist I'm either lying or a repressed trans woman. No, you're a transvestite fetishist who's embraced as transvestism, and it is not pathological with these people, which is also pointed out in the DSM. Well, I'm going to read that to you guys. More properly, here's someone called AGP Issues. More properly, they don't believe it explains their motivations to transition because the theory suggests it's all sexual in nature. Oh, wait, I missed one. I said, the trans Taliban and the T3 thought police. More properly, they don't believe it explains their motivations to transition because the theory suggests it's all sexual in nature. That cursed E-person that is argued with here all the time literally acknowledged to me that it serves well as a typology for transvestism. As I said, this is how you're impressing me. It fits for the male with erotic fantasies, and that's why it freaks out the transsexuals. But now that's where that ran out, but I know there were others. Yeah, because here's one of the others. Let's see where this one goes. See, here's one. I know there was more. Because maybe this is where it was. Oh, okay, yeah, here it is. There's Michael saying, honestly, I've had more of them tell me it's not real. Also, you're not real. And AGP Issue saying, right, because they probably believe that not all motivations of transition are sexual or can be explained away by a dichotomy where the only conclusion is paraphilic autoerotica or homosexuality or both. Real or not, I can see how one could feel invalidated by it. The main argument I see is that trans women insist that it's about their entire identity and not just their sexuality. A lot of them are deeply phallophobic and diss cross-dressers real hard. I'm in the crowd that says everybody's sexual preferences and gender expression is valid. Oh, and my previous comment was that is the position of Blanchard and Zucker that transgender people find so contemptible and completely wrong about their theories about us. Being intersex and non-operative, I'm in somewhat of a safe zone on all of that and can be more objective. It's like, you know, they want to call it a mental illness. They want to call it a psychosexual disorder. It's not. If anything, it's a chemical. It's a genetic goof in the you know, error in the chemistry. I don't even know if you should call it an error. I like to call it a sport. You know, it's a recessive trait that appears in some people for some unknown reason. Well, anyway, that's probably plenty because I really want to shut up. Oh, and now we got the fake Tommy Tutor here. Tiffany, just don't pay any attention to the idiot. Let me like block him. How in the fuck can we? I thought I had this fucker blocked on his channel. I'll get rid of this guy.
Here in the United States.
Okay, that deuce is done. You're getting reported too. And this is a clear threat of physical violence. Oh, we have another one to block. They this is a gang of cyber bullies that's based at a place called KiwiFarms.net. They're all a bunch of like alt-right queers, bunch of ass fuckers, and all into all sorts of weird shit. And they key on transgender people. The whole site is dedicated to harassing a transgender game developer by the name of Christine Chandler. And they have hundreds of victims. They've caused 5 suicides, dozens of attempts, and 2 school shootings. So let me get rid of this Tommaso Wasserberg. What a bunch of fucking infantile imbeciles. I call them idiots. They're mostly video gamers. They They were, you might have heard of Gamergate. Where in the fuck does this one come from? Mostly I ignore them. That's the only way to deal with them. Law enforcement won't do anything about it. And tell her why you obsess on Sabrina. That's somebody I knew 35 years ago. Fucking idiot. I'm having trouble finding this person's channel to block it. I don't know why I'm even like can't find the person to block it. That's really bad. Well, you're done. Oh. No, Sabrina's related to everything. That's that's the only they need to defame me for whatever their reason. And Sabrina's the basis of their whole charge that I'm a pedophile and child rapist. But I ain't going. I'm not going into the story tonight. No way. Fuck them. You're free to contact me privately. I'll be glad to tell it to you. I'm not telling the story in public anymore. That's really nothing. The same people like go, huh? Are you serious? I'm much more wanting to talk about the trans wars. I know that I'm not very feminine, but so what? I know that cis women are a lot less feminine than me. I'm what I am. I'm not claiming to be the same as a cis woman. I have no need to. People understand that some people with penises make better women than men, and some people with vaginas make better men than women. And that's just the way it is. And, I decided that, like, it's in my dreams, I'm somebody's wife and mother. But in waking reality, I can't do that. I only have male gonads, but I have a female heart and brain. And that's the way it is. And I don't give a shit what these people want to try and say to me or about me. I mostly ignore them. Let's see, we got a new one. Oh, look at this. Oh, is this another threat? So, okay, Tiffany, it's just you and me right now. If you want to ask me something. Ah, jeez. See what's in my feed right now. Nothing. Nah. Oh, yeah, I know exactly what's going on. I've been watched by the this is because they've made it so, and I really don't know how to stop YouTube from doing this kind of shit without suing them. They're totally non-responsive to my complaints. They're completely non-responsive. It's Kiwi farmers. They take my videos and project their own demented fantasies into them, and ridicule me. It's a bunch of children that have no sense of reality at all. Well, yeah, I can, but I don't have a lawyer to do it. Oh, hey, baby, there's dozens of victims, lots of them. I'm surprised you haven't heard of this before, because it's a community-wide issue. They caused 5 suicides and dozens of attempts. Well, that's, yes, it would if I had an attorney to do it. There's been people try to sue Josh Moon, the owner of it's a corporation, Lolcow LLC, and there have been people trying to sue him and fail. Oh, you do you? Very much, and I've got co-plaintiffs. Several co-plaintiffs. They'll turn you on to right immediately. I need to get restraint on the social media platforms for harboring them. Use Dr. What's This at Hotmail. Here, I'll write it out for you. Yeah, I got to go after the Tucson Police Department for discrimination, the FBI for discrimination, and for interfering with my life for the last 40 years. Well, the two that I'm mainly in contact with, one is a woman named Marissa, who's an artist in New York that they're trying to call a porn actress. And the other one is a guy called Robert McKim in Ohio, who is I don't know, he's kind of retired evangelical, who does a lot of videos. Christine Chandler is a video game developer, Sonichu, Sonichu, I guess. And the whole site is dedicated to her. This Josh Moon is, one of these incels. They're so nasty, no woman will have anything to do with them, and they're all a bunch of like perverts, and video game junkies. You might have heard of Gamergate. They were involved with that. I know what else. There's dozens of victims. Don't go to this site without being behind a solid firewall. It's very invasive. We've got a lot of bots just watching. They see everything. And they'll plant shit in your computer if they can. I look forward to this. I think it's, I don't know. I don't know. I'm so sick and tired of it. You know, my life works better. You know, the cops tell me just stay off the sites. And it's like, yeah, sure, but that doesn't stop them. But it comes at, you know, I don't go to their bases very much. I haven't said anything at all at Kiwi Farms for quite some time. I can't even log in now because someone hacked my account and changed the password. And the other one, see, it was actually there. This has been going on for many years. With the Kiwi farmers were recruited by a gang of IT contractors, DoD, Defense Department IT contractors have been on my shit for years, 10 at least. No, you got seriously, don't go on that site without, yeah, there's a threat at Kiwi Farms on me. Do not go near that site without being behind a solid firewall or a proxy or something. Don't let them see your IP address or you're going to get dirt. I bet that was pretty funny. When I tell you about how I'm a pedophile dog pucker. Oh, Spyros. Yeah, that's the guys. No, Tommy doesn't have COPD. And Deep Price is like a seriously mentally ill woman. Trans woman. You're black, bitch. No, I'm not. You're somebody who is seriously mentally ill. I had to she was like going off. That's a long time transgender well, she's some transsexual that was in one of my groups. I own a group called Transgender Science at Facebook, and she was like disrespecting. No, she's a defendant, if anything. That one. D has a thread at Kiwi Farms. How old is it? She was in my group, and we had to kick her out. Oh, I didn't know she had a good, so I got to see this. I haven't been on Kiwi Farms for a while. That's one thing about the the trans Taliban. As soon as you piss one off, they start misgendering and dead naming you. You know, excuse me, I'm not a male. My name's not Tom. Oh, well, she has had one for a while. They've been following her for a while. So no, she's this one. I wouldn't. That's more Stockholm syndrome. She's one that they like her. She likes being with them. Oh, the site's terribly malicious. No, the age of the thread does matter because they've been infiltrating my group with people like her. She was probably sent into my group to disrupt it. Oh my goodness, are you serious? Oh wow. Uh, I told you. This is make sure you're behind a solid firewall. That site is dangerous. I'm in Tucson. Marissa's in New York. Set it up, if you set it up with a bunch of does. I have two people that are willing to McKim and Marissa. I don't remember what her name is. I'd have to get it for you. McKim and Marissa have said they'd let me put their name out on board. The well, I'm in Arizona, Tucson. Uh, Marissa's in New York. Bob McKim is in Ohio, and there's people scattered all over that you can put in as doors. Yeah, I need to get that stuff for you. Let me call her and see if I can get her to. Come on, go away. Go away. What do you want? I know. What's this? Who the fuck is this idiot? Marissa, that's right. We want Marissa. That's who I want to sue right there. And then YouTube is, I need injunction on YouTube. There's about 10 channels stealing my videos. Twitter and Facebook are both allowing them to post my shit and defame me with it. IMGUR has been hosting their shit on me for years. Got it all over their site. There's a bunch of imposters. It's kind of late. It's like 2 a.m. by her. Oh, absolutely. On the stone, but I don't have that much. It's all low end. No, Jason Winsky, it's very deep price is back. Hey, you're one sick bitch, baby. You're timed out again. Bye. Yeah, and Marissa's not her machine's not picking up either. Let's slow down, Miss Power. Kaz Mirzak is the assistant chief. Winsky is the it's a long story. It's totally a long story. that I really don't want to go into right now because well, there's 8 people watching. I don't know what line I have of hers. Yeah, MHST is a mental health team. And that's what they did is they decided, 3 years ago, I went to, this has been following me for 20 years on the internet. And 50 years, they've had me under surveillance most of my life. And yeah, they responded to my complaints by filing 4 falsified psych petitions. And they've just been jerking my chain for the last 3 years. It started out Lieutenant James Scott's office. He promised me that, they're supposedly a reporting agency on this because they couldn't do anything. And they've admitted that there's crime, but like this Matthew Golden clown, who's the actual investigating, the trolls call him my target handler. He's the one that tells me to shut up. They're not going to do anything. Oh, it's just terrible. It's just nuts. And mostly I just ignore it as best I can. I have to do damage control when somebody gets in my face with some of it that they've stumbled on or got fed. But there's nothing I can do without a lawyer. And I've been doing my congressman dropped the ball when the FBI lied to him about me and the state of the circumstances. And there's like, oh, super. I'll check my email. I certainly hope so. It's very evil. Did you look through the roster on there? There's a number of prominent transgender people that they're targeting. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh please, we need to talk privately on the phone. This is deep shit. I got a bullet in my back that was ordered there. I'll read you the response. And Grialva won't reveal the what they said. They won't reveal what they asked. They won't release what they asked them to me. And I said, oh yes you will if we order it. Okay, that's my trans letter, my birth certificate. That's that. Oh shit. I seem to have lost, misplaced. Oh, here it is. Here's the FBI's response to the Honorable Raul Grialva. He's got a sexual misconduct charge that he settled with taxpayers' money. This is in response to your June 25th, 2018 inquiry on behalf of your constituent, Ms. Tommy Jane Wasserberg, who alleges online harassment and requests the status of her complaints to the FBI. The FBI is familiar with Ms. Wasserberg and has received several complaints from her since approximately 1998. That's a lie. I never went anywhere near them until about 2001. But they've been watching me since 1970, and I can prove that. Jewish Defense League, COINTELPRO. Weather it's balmy season here in Tucson. High 70s in the daytime and high 50s at night. Okay, The FBI is familiar with Ms. Wasserberg and has received several complaints from her since approximately 1998. However, in order for the FBI to initiate an investigation of any complaint we receive, specific facts must be present to indicate that a violation of federal law within our investigative jurisdiction has occurred. Although Ms. Wasserberg has made numerous allegations over the years, including online harassment, there are insufficient facts to demonstrate a violation of federal law within our investigative jurisdiction or to support the initiation of an FBI investigation. We are therefore unable to provide any assistance to her, which is totally fucking bullshit because the complaints were violations of federal law of computer intrusion. And the motherfuckers never looked at my data once, no matter how hard I tried to get them to do this. And so here's Grijalva just saying, well, they said they can't do anything, so there's nothing I'm going to do. Yeah, it's balmy season, man. This is the best time of year in Tucson right now. Now, and you know it'll get a little cold and wet in January and February, but right now, woo. Yeah, just send it to my email. Don't put it out here. I'm gonna go take a short little break. I need to drain the lizard. Yeah, you know, I was assaulted by somebody in person that the cops did nothing about. Now I'm getting threats here. This just came in on my text. Oh, and it's still texting at me. And I'm gonna report this too. And we're gonna. Who knows? This Pete Clark is. I don't want to go into it in public right now. We'll talk about it privately. Pete Clark is a local biker that they programmed to come after me. That's pretty much where that's at. Oh my God. Well, here's Marissa. But wait till you hear what I got. Oh boy, this is just nuts. I know. Because I have an attorney in New York that's going to file an injunction right now, like this week for us. I said I was streaming just now, and there's an attorney in the chatter who calls herself Trans Girl Power, who's in New York City, who's going to file for us. That I want to put you in touch with, like as soon as possible, because like you're in her jurisdiction. Yeah, I will go back to bed. Oh no shit! But like Moon and his cohorts are like a serious threat. Do you mind if I put you on the speaker? The attorney like to hear you. Okay.
I don't want to say anything, personal. in public. I'm not going to talk.
All right. Well, that's pretty much where I'm. I tried to avoid it, but like the chatters, the trolls were all up in the chatter, so it's like had to block them, and she's gonna send me her.
Are you recording my voice? Please do
No,
not
it's
record my
streaming.
voice
I'm gonna
or
take it
video.
off. It's streaming. I'm not recording. It's streaming.
Because if you do, I won't be talking because I don't feel like being recorded.
It's streaming. So it neither have I. Neither have I. And this woman says she's going to help us. She's transcribing the notes and what I'm saying with a paralegal right now, or she's playing me. I don't know. I could be getting gaslit. Oh yeah, they make up all sorts of shit. I know this could be a total fucking pile of bullshit. I'm sorry. I won't do it. I won't do it again. It was just, yeah, I won't do it again. It was like, it just was like, oh shit. She's talking about doing this from, but then it's a very serious, very, very high probability that she's a gaslighter too. I know it's all RPGs. They're idiots. They live in a virtual fucking reality, and then they make up games. They're all fake. They're all fake people. I don't know if I've seen it. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm getting played. Go ahead. Well, send me a link. Oh, really? You go. Well, send me the link. What's the name of you got it? What's your channel? I don't even know where your channel is. I see. Oh. Oh, they're Twitter too, and Facebook. Well, I don't know if they can get away with it Facebook, but they're definitely on Twitter. And they've somehow got their channel related to mine. Yes, I send me your phone number to my email. I haven't seen anything yet. Yeah, we need to. I don't want. I really want to shut this down at this point. Um, Oh, well, that's just the way they've been programmed. No, they've never. That's just the way they're programmed. I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's like, listen. I know. I know. I know. I, I've, I've gotten to where, you know, it's like, I'm old. I'm 64 years old. I don't need to be talking like a 12-year-old anymore. And I have, yeah, but, well, you know, I mean, I use a lot of coarse language, you know, and then, but I, you know, cut down on it a lot. Well, the people I talk to are just scared. They don't, you know, they know they're feeling helpless because they are not getting responses from the, you know, like I know a couple of the trans moms, you know, mama bears that are targeted by them, and um, a few of the TRAs are targeted by them, and they won't. They're frustrated and angry and afraid to even talk about it because just talking about it empowers these people. He's a, they're all nobodies, but there's thousands of them. Did you see that got almost 10,000 views on that video for me? Well, I realize that, but they're also breaking laws. Um, well, that's possible too. Perverts come in all ages. No. Well, don't kid yourself about Arizona. I just happen to be in a little blue oasis. I said, don't kid yourself in Arizona. I just happen to live in a little blue oasis. Well, Arizona's a red state. And we got just as much stupid white nationalist shit here as anywhere else. But Tucson dealt with it years ago. Tucson is a much more progressive town than anywhere else in Arizona. Oh, fuck, Florida cracker. Oh, jeez. I've never seen a fat man I'd want to have sex with. I've never seen a really fat guy I'd want to have sex with. No, I'm transgender. I'm trying to. It's a long story, but no, I'm attempting to be in a relationship with a trans guy. No, I want a man, but he needs to have the right plumbing for me. Well, I mean, I guess I'm bisexual. I don't know. I just like, you know, I have a penis. It needs a vagina if it's going to have proper sex, as far as I'm concerned. And I've never had sex with a man who had a penis. Never had any interest in it because I don't have a vagina. But Well, there's women with penises and men with vaginas. Not a lot, but we exist. No, no, transgender people. And most of us have never had any operation. Well, everybody has aspects of both sexes in their personality. Oh no, everybody, hardly anybody, nearly everybody, hardly anybody's 100% male or 100% female in their spirit. Everybody's got a little dose of the other, at least. Oh look, wow, Deep Price is mentally ill. Did they? Yeah, they probably fucking put you back on timeout for you, bitch. No, there's a transgender or transsexual, a totally fucking insane transsexual that they set after me. I have a live stream going, and there's people in the chatter, and yeah, they're coming at me, and I'm putting them on timeout. I don't know why the hell I can't get to their channels. There's one of them came, and I tried to search for the channel, and I couldn't find it. It wouldn't. Oh, I know they are. They're totally insignificant assholes. They're perverts. They're known to be perverts. They had nothing but negative press and not very much of that. They're totally not worth anybody's energy except people that they are directly harming. Anybody else should totally fucking ignore it. I've never encountered anything quite this demented. I mean, I've been getting harassed by trolls for years, but these guys are like totally over the edge. Oh, look, Josh is here. You're getting sued, buddy. Yeah, that's Joshua Moon. You go turn on my channel. This is interesting. I got a stream going, and I got this attorney here. Yeah, that's Josh Moon. Just said tell Virgo that Josh says hello. And she's getting ready to sue this guy tomorrow. She says she can have him. She says she can have injunctions by the end of the week in federal court. Well, I hope she's for real. I'm not getting gaslit. Well, eventually the karma bus is going to run them over. Right? Oh no. Oh shit. Right? Uh-huh. I know. Well, it's what it is he hates himself and he doesn't admit it. Very little. Oh, I know. They all do. You ever listen to Sneasel? Sneasel? That's the one that's stalking me. Or there's one that calls himself Goop Choi. Oh, they're just total fucking idiots. Completely just self-loathing perverts. Oh, he's a little prick. Full of himself, little prick. Power hungry. Yes, you do, Joshua. You're living in your mother's basement. So is Sneasel. And I got Sneasel's mom's phone number. Yeah. Sneasel, I don't know his name yet. Oh, you're full of shit, Joshua. You're living in Virginia. It's Florida or something. And your business is registered in Jacksonville, Florida. Well, I think that he should be like incarcerated. Well, let's see it, and let's see the timestamp proof on it. And it's also you can also like doctor it. You know, you guys are just bullshit. You're pathological liars. Okay, you do that because I want to shut off um I want to shut off the stream. All right, happy day. I send me an email. Like, do I have your email anywhere? Like, if we talk to each other by email? Yeah, please. I'll go hunting it. Okay. All right. Good night. Pleasant dreams. Dig this shit. Cut off your dick, faggot, lol. You're full of shit. You never were trans, you dumbass. You're a self-hating gay man. We're outside. Gay. Don't even think about calling Marissa. We're monitoring this call. You better watch out. You got yelled at by Marissa. Gay. Spyros is watching, and the last message came in at 12:21. Well, that's the last message that's coming. Or why don't we just call this idiot and see what he's got to say? There's numerous. It's a whole site. It's the owner of the site. There's numerous people on the site to do that.
The Google subscriber you have called is not available. Please leave a message after the tone.
Dying of fire, pal. You're all faggots. Block the number. Goodbye. You're done. Okay. All right. Miss Power, it's your turn. I'm gonna pass this number on to Marissa and Bob McKim. Well, he's not transgender. Hello, there it is. Oh yeah, we don't want to put you on speaker. It's Tommy Jane. I just dialed your number, man. Hello. This is Tommy Washington calling. You just gave me your number and chatter. Well, here I am. Yeah, but I don't have you on speaker and I'm off the camera right now. Well, I can kill the stream right now. I'd rather, because I don't want to deal with the trolls anymore. And I mean, well, that's because I don't have the speaker on. And there's just, my phone is that way. Let me like say goodbye to these guys online, and I'll get right with you. Hold on a second. Okay, we're gonna kill this. Oh, I'm sorry, Tiffany. No, I can't. I'm talking to an attorney on. What would you want? Do you want this on camera? Do you want me to put you on the speaker so it can be heard? Okay. I was going to kill the string so we could talk privately. All right, you're on speaker. Can you hear me better?
Yes, I can. Thank you. So, yes, as I was saying in chat, and I don't know if Joshua Moon is still around, but we can serve him even if he's claiming he doesn't live in the United States, but we can still serve him even if that is the case.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I have a phone number of, I'm being stalked by two individuals. I just got a new phone number from somebody locally. There's a local.
I'm sorry, what?
They have a local phone number that they just texted me a bunch of threats from. And for now, I would like to hear some more details about these other individuals who are stalking and harassing you. Well, the main one, other than Moon, is somebody who calls himself Sneasel.
Sneasel.
Yeah, Sneasel.
I'm assuming this isn't his real name.
No. Yawning Sneasel is the username on the site. And what I know about him is that he's early 20s, recent business school graduate, and unemployed, living in mommy's basement, according to his aunt. He called me. They did a live podcast with a bunch of ripped off videos of mine and talking bullshit about me on the Kiwi Farms channel. You'll see it if you go look at it. They called me trying to get me to come on live, and I just wasn't going to do it. Sneasel called me from his aunt's landline, so that traced back real quick. And I talked to the aunt. The aunt gave me a little background and gave me his mother's phone number, but I haven't called that yet. So I was going to give it to the cops, but the cops are like, fuck you, we're not going to do anything.
You haven't called it yet?
No.
His mother?
Right.
Well, even if you don't have his name, we can definitely get subpoenas and find out his IP.
Oh, sure. We got the mother's phone number. The mother and the aunt's phone number.
Yeah, that will help a lot.
Then there's this other one calling himself Heaven Kaufman that has an LLC that he calls Millennial Turkeys that's doing most of the video ripping.
I'm sorry, what? Millennial Turkeys?
Millennial Turkeys, yeah. It's a channel.
That's very bizarre.
Yeah, look for the channel. He's been doing my videos, and there's a whole mess of other channels that are ripping off my videos and adulterating them. They're trying to, it's a weird scene inside the gold mine. I'm 28. Venice Beach, part of the music and arts, indie music and arts community. There was a not quite 16-year-old young lady who had been making her own decisions since she was 9 years old. And I walked into my place and found her in bed with my old lady. They rolled apart, invited me in, and my old lady broke it up in minutes because I was paying too much attention to the younger woman. But that 35 years ago makes me a pedophile and child molester today. Okay, that's their whole trip on me.
Wow. So they're telling lies about this incident that took place decades ago to try to defame you, is what you're saying?
Exactly.
So aside from stalking and harassment,
We have
there's defamation
invasion
going
of
on.
privacy by misappropriation, defamation, libel, the whole trip, and computer intrusion.
And you said this other man, his name was Kevin Kaufman?
Kevin Kaufman. Heaven as
That
in...
name, I know that name. He's wanted from Canada.
Yeah. Kevin, do you know Kevin Hoffman? Kevin Hoffman? Because this is the group that recruited them.
Yes, he's a very dangerous individual.
How about somebody named Thomas Butler or Tom Madera? Michael Osborne, Patrick Kelly. These are all former military intelligence people who are like trolling from, they had a site called Duranter. There's one called 419eater.com. And now they're based at a place called Another Message Board. That's what I sent you in the chatter, was those guys. Thomas Butler supposedly works directly for the DOD. And Madera is the COO of an IT security contractor called Spiros Consulting, and he was bagged from what's it called? Continental West bagged him, and he got bagged from General Dynamics because I complained to them about the harassment, but they won't release any of the details on that without a subpoena.
Well, I can tell you, I know these names. I have contacts in law enforcement. They can give me the files.
Yeah, well, I'm going to need some verification of your identity, ma'am, because I'm not totally like, I'm totally without trust because I've been gaslit too many times by fakes.
You've been gaslit?
Oh, regularly, daily. I get all kinds of people in my face offering to do things and give me information and yada, yada, yada. I need to verify your identity. I'm going to need some, talk to me in my...
I'm not verifying shit, old man. Have a good night.
That's what I thought. You fucking fake. Don't ask for verification. A fucking lawyer, you asshole. All you assholes. Goodbye. No, you got trolled. You exposed yourself and a phone number, you stupid cunt. This is stupid cunt. Goodbye. You're in timeout. Josh, you're a dead man walking. That's all. That's all. That's all I have to say to you. You're a fucking dead man walking. That's all. And you're not even a man. You're a little boy. Josh, all of you, it's been a real thrill. Thank you for the additional information. Fuck you. Die in a fire. Eat shit and live. Tiffany, I've had enough for one night. I need to pee, and that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Ha ha ha, you got trolled. What children? Fucking infants. They're just fucking infants. And you're not going to get me to suicide. You're not going to get me to flip out and do something stupid. All you're going to do is strengthen my resolve. And all you do when you fuck with me is drive nice people to me. I gotten 200 followers in like 3 weeks at Twitter because the Zionists have been all up in my shit with bare shit, and Twitter lets it stand. It was only 2 o'clock. Well, anyway, thanks for coming, Tiffany. Seems like everybody else was assholes. Happy day. Thanks for watching. Bye.